So we are going to proceed with our lab for today. A little bit of recon for vulnerability assessment. You are going to use Kali Linux. So visit the website. And when you click on that link, it's going to take you to the download virtual machine page. You're going to click this one to download your virtual machine for VirtualBox. Once that's done, make sure you save it to downloads. So I have it under my downloads. So click on this PC on your desktop and then go to downloads. Then I would find the zip folder here. We're going to right click, show more options, 7-zip, and extract files. So I just did step 4. Again, in download, right click, show more options, 7-zip, extract files. Then we should have a folder without the zip symbol, the extracted folder, right below it. Now, if you go to, let me remove this. I just did this as a test. You can open up VirtualBox app and then add it. Or if you open up the folder, its subfolder, and you find a blue file, you're going to double click. But don't start it yet until you change your processor. The reason why we do that is the scan is going to be a little quicker for you as you're scanning yourself, right? You are the target, so we just have it for testing purposes. So click settings, system, and then we want to give it 8,000 for 8 gig. That should be good. Then click processor tab and then change that to 4. So again, we're going to go to settings. And then system process, change your RAM to 8,000. And then the processor, we're going to do 4. Click OK. And then you're going to start your VM. So I put a note for it down here. We want to change our system settings to that. You can run it on the default RAM and processor, just a little slower. Once we have that started, we are going to minimize this. Let me close this. Oops. Log in, and that will be step 8. So to log in, I'm going to go type Kali and Kali. And we always want to start with an update to our system. Even if you download a recent Kali Linux virtual machine, it allows the software to be able to pull the updates for the applications. So open up your terminal. And we're going to do sudo app update. And you can copy and paste the command. Oops, I had a typo, sorry. Sudo app update. That's going to require you to put in the password. So Kali. And it's going to take a few minutes to update. So after we update, we simply going to find our IP address. Only because we are using our own system as a target. So we're gonna scan against our own system. So having the IP address is gonna help you plug that in to other commands down the line. So we're gonna do IP address. And by default, you would see that Kali has the 10.0.2.15. So you can note that there. Sometimes you can also use the loopback address, but this is our IP. Now we are gonna run a web server, and we're gonna target that web server. So let's say that it's an HTTP server, and we're gonna scan against it to get its information. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna do a sudo apt install nginx. This is so you can run Apache, or you can run nginx or nginx, which has Apache in the back. So it's gonna ask you if you want to continue to install. We're gonna type Y for yes. So alternatively, you can I think Apache comes with most of Debian based Linux release, but just in case, you can download and install the packages. So here I put down the note that you can use this as a web server. You can also implement it as a reverse proxy, load balancer, mail proxy, and other things using or even HTTP cache. So that way it serves the page quicker. So there are many uses for nginx. And then after we had our package install, we're going to install DVWA. I think we established this a while ago, which is damn vulnerable web app. So we're gonna run a web app that is vulnerable, which is through HTTP on here. And we're gonna press yes to install. That's gonna take a few seconds. So we want to create a test environment. I show you how you can install your web server packages. Now you're going to install your web app packages. Do you have to have the web server package? No, you don't. But we're actually going to have our welcome page on our web server, and then we are going to we're going to scan against it. So once I have installed the DVWA, I'm gonna do step 16, which is to start it. So you simply do DVWA dash start. And it's gonna prompt you with the password. Type in your password. And it's gonna take a second, and you notice on your browser, Firefox is gonna open, and it's gonna open up DVWA with the loopback address. So we now host this on our local system. You need to leave the terminal open, the one that you just used. And what we can do is we are going to open another terminal. And we're going to use Python to start our web server. But notice that we're using port 9000. So later on, when you access it, you have to put the port number. Because your DVWA already uses port 42001. It's default to that. We are going to have the web server bind to port 9000. So I'm going to open up another terminal. I thought I did, but I might have closed it. And then I'm gonna use Python, and Python 3 comes with your Debian Kali Linux. And we're gonna do an http.server /bind. And here you want to put in the target or the address of your server machine, which is our own. And then the port value. So this is now activated. We can leave that open. We don't want to cancel the service. That means that we have to open another terminal. That will be a third. Click the back square. You can do Control-Alt-T. Now we're gonna make our index page for our web server that we just started with Python. So echo is a command to append text. We're gonna do a welcome to my server. You can put any message you want. And we're gonna have the arrow point to the till, and it's gonna be our index.html file. This file is used whenever for the landing page, when you visit a website. So whenever that we put in our HTTP with our IP address, it's gonna give us the welcome to my server site. Now here's my fix, right? I think I didn't put this, and I'll upload this document when we're done. So when you open up your Firefox, make sure that you load it with the port number 9000. That's what you bind to. Otherwise, it's gonna give you like the error. I cannot find the page. So we're gonna do Firefox application HTTP 10.0.2.15 with the port value for our website that we hosted on the local machine. Is it doing that? It should show you the page. I just tested it earlier. Let me check. It shows the directory, which is vulnerable. You shouldn't be able to see the directory. But yeah, on the loop back, it doesn't see it. I'm trying. So your web server is working, but it should find. Let me see why. Let's close this. I have too many. Terminals open. Yeah, I'm getting the status code so when you look at the terminal that has the web server running, it shows like whenever you attempt to connect to it, the status code. So it is working. It's just not binding my my bless you. my page that I had created. So let's try again. Let me see if I can rebind it. I don't think I can. Yeah, it already ran, so it's already in use. So once you bind it, let me see if I can do echo. Yeah, you guys should see the welcome screen. I tested it several times. Oops. Still index. We put in the URL. Yeah, it didn't open up my index file, but it works. It shows the page with the directory. And then in the back, you see the status code. Okay. Take a screenshot, then we're going to start. So let's open up a terminal. I'm going to do sudo system control. Start nginx. Kali, so web services. Now this opens up, it activates the web services for the local host, which is the loopback. So what I did was I install nginx, right? But I use Python to activate the web server for the actual IP address, which is the 10.0.2.15. And then I also run a web application at port 42001 through DVWA. When you do system control start nginx, this allows us to use localhost as a name in for our web services. So Firefox, HTTP, localhost. Is this necessary? No, but so there are multiple ways that you can run web services. If you want to use an IP address, you can do it the Python way. You can, but ultimately you still have to have Apache already installed. When you run nginx, you can do it for the local host once you start it, which is to the localhost.url, the URL here, like this. And it just load the default page, which is Apache. Now, since we have HTTP services running, we're going to try to see if we can telnet it. So you can, and telnet is a way that we can connect directly into that system. So if you can telnet the machine, that means that it is vulnerable. You can use telnet to modify things, right? So we're going to use telnet, which is already integrated with Debian Linux. And then you type in the target and the port number. So 10.0.2.15 port 80. And it is successful. It says it's connected, right? So the question there is, can you telnet it? Yes. And so on the administration side, we want to disable the telnet for our server. So when you assess this, you would say, okay, this service is on. We have to close out the vulnerability by disabling it. screenshot that, answer the questions. You can press Control C to end the telnet. Control C is to cancel. And we use wget to visit website to download to, so basically we can obtain from the website. So we're gonna do wget and we're gonna use switch Q, switch capital S, and our target value, which is our target IP. So this is a way that we can obtain HTTP banner. So if you have HTTP server, in the banner, it's gonna give you the HTTP version and the status code, which is okay. So when you finish the get, if it's able to serve that request, it's gonna give the status code 200. It tells you the type of server it's running. So the service like either IIS or Apache or NGINX. It's also, if it has some payload information, it usually gives you that in also the HTTP banner. So if you want to grab the banner real quick to kind of find out more information about that server, right? You should be able to use wget. Then we're going to use curl, and curl also allows you to retrieve similar information to from the HTTP banner. So we're going to do this command for number 28. So we're going to do a curl -s -l for list, and then 10.0.2.15. So what this does is it's going to give you the index content or the landing page content for the server, but it also gives you additional information. So some of this is all of this is just the doc HTML. But it's the same as if you right click and obtain code for the HTML. Okay, good.
But now we can then it's like with the like if they did it virtually, they just
We'll talk a little bit. Okay, so your output is going to be a little different than what you've seen. Let me double check something. Yeah, it's a single. So you are gonna, with the curl, you're able to get the landing page information. Then we're gonna use wget. And wget here, I provide you that it is a tool to get web application banner. So we can use that to find some additional information about our server. So wget, and then our target IP. So this, the information you get from wget is a little bit organized as it is an application that's designed to obtain this. So you got the status code, which is 200 OK. It tells you the service for that servers that's running for the web service is NGINX, the IP address, and then the title of the default page. So you do get the same information, but just laid out a little bit differently. The software install, right? We see that here, NGINX. Now, we've learned that nmap is used for vulnerability assessment. Nmap can be intrusive. It is an active scanner. Unless you tell it to scan quietly. So we're gonna use nmap. And we're going to use the switch option SV. We're gonna do version intensity level 5. So it's quicker. So if you want to increase the intensity, you can have that value raised up. 10 dots or lower to have it less intensive. And we're gonna do a -P port 80. And this shouldn't take too long because we're scanning ourselves. So our destination is close. So that's gonna give you, so it tells me that my port 80 is open. And this is the service that I have and the version that's installed, which is what we've seen from the banner from earlier. Now we can use specific script to get the banner. We can use nmap and sv, and we can use the double dash script. We can specify our script. There are, many different type of NSC. So we're gonna do a single equal sign banner, and then your target IP address. So you should have some output, and then it's gonna examine the header and tell you some information. So this is gonna give you, the banner script gives you a little bit more detail. It does tell you that there's open port and the service, but it's able to find, our other HTTP server that we bind through Python, right? So we see that there. And it tells us that too, that Python was used to bind for that HTTP server at port 9000. So we need to compare this to what you've seen earlier. And we're gonna do NICTL. So NICTL is used for web application assessment. It is a great tool, but we're only gonna do a short step. So if you want, you can also read more about it. So it's gonna target port 80 for NICTL. That's default for HTTP. It tells you right away what kind of server. And it, so it submitted 8,102 requests. Everything was received with 0 errors. So that means that our server is responding. There's some items that it reports that's, that could be a vulnerability to our system. So it tells us that the anti-jacking X-frame option is not present. That one is missing. So we would be prone to click jacking. We also looked at, it also looked at X content header that's not set. So that one is missing. Right? And then it gives you the link for additional information about that vulnerability. So this is a really good one to use for web application vulnerability, web server vulnerability assessment. And you can add additional options to NICTL to be able to get more details out of it. And then we also don't have CGI directories. So there's some issues that we need to fix based on this scan result, right? So put down the headers that are missing. Those are the vulnerabilities that we need to address. And then we're gonna do HTTP print. So install it. And then we're gonna create a signature.txt. So using touch. And we're going to execute HTTP print with the targeted URL. Oops. And apply the signature. So basically that file is going to store your output from the scan, and then be able to use that file for your scan. So take a screenshot of this. It tells me that my ping timed out. And then it evaluate the web server, but the ping timed out. And then lastly, I think we're gonna use p0 off. I think we did this part before, didn't we? No? Maybe a web wolf. Okay, so for 35, we would install, and this is a passive OS fingerprinting for your targeted systems. And we're gonna do p0 off. We're gonna do interface F0, which is our Ethernet. Oh, this needs to be sudo, sorry. So add sudo right here. Otherwise you get a permission error. So this is gonna scan and it takes a long time. You can, hopefully be able to get some details after a little bit of time. So when it runs like this, you gotta let it go and see if it's able to find your host information or your target information and the operating system or the connection. So give it a little bit of time. So after that, you run nmap, and we are going to find the OS by doing the capital O option to get some of the scans. So these are some of the things that you can use for the recon, especially targeting web server and web application. Definitely the majority of the things out there are web server and web application. So we need to compare the results and be able to see if we have additional information as we are targeting the same system. Now p0 requires pcap. So if you don't have that install or enable, you must have that. Otherwise, it won't be able to load the package anyway, so. And then if you want to run the other stuff, it's just gonna throttle your computer. But you can also run a second terminal or the fourth or the fifth terminal. You can run nmap dash capital O. And we are gonna put in the target IP. Oh. So that might be sudo as well here. So 38, you need to add sudo. 36, you need to add sudo.
Thirty-two.
32 should be okay without it, right? Yeah, I was able to run it without sudo. So as you run this, right, down the line, it might not be able to find it. So it scanned it. I'm able to get the ports that's open. It tried to do OS detection, but it's not able to give me anything there. So I think using the option O here with nmap didn't give us as much details as if we were using banner, the script for banner or the other options. So sometimes you have more or less information using the same tool, but with different switch. Okay. And then we can answer question 40. What did you learn about completing this lab? What, how can the tools in the learn concept help you the role in the security field? Well, we learned to use multiple tools for web application vulnerability assessment by looking at or gathering data from banner and systems like our web server. We use nmap, which gives you open ports, some information about the operating system or how far it is from the, how many hops it is from source to destination. We also use telnet, which allows you to directly connect or based on the vulnerability that we have exists on our web server. Let's see what else. We use wget, which gives us the web server banner, very similar to the other one, but in a cleaner fashion or more organized fashion. And we use nmap for port specific, and then nictel. I think that's, you know, yeah, we use nictel and HTTP print. So you can use HTTP print to get web server information and store it to the file. That's what we did. So ultimately, we fingerprint operating system for our web servers, grabbing the banners, obtaining some vulnerability information using telnet for direct connect. And all of this is helpful when you're testing your server, when you're looking at security for your server. And then we also use p0 off, right? So, and then we also need to make sure we secure the content for our server, like, and also anti-clicking and how your server should be used. So these tools can be useful. And they are pretty fast, pretty quick to run. Okay, I'm gonna stop recording.